you know, I had this goal in my head, this thing that I was working for, and it has been that, one day somehow I would be able to go back to being a financial planner. Like the only reason I'm not a financial planner anymore, at least right this minute, is because I made the decision to get healthy from the lithium. And in order to be able to do that, I needed to stop working so hard, and I needed to make sure that I was doing things that, like maintain my fiduciary responsibility. And, I didn't know how sick I was going to be coming off those drugs, and I didn't know, how much that would impact me until, I came off of them. So I did what I thought was the responsible thing to do. I sold my financial planning practice, and, I kept up this brave, facade. And, I never properly mourned it because I thought I was going back. And, I'm not so sure I'm going back anymore. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because, in order for me to get my licenses back, first I had to be able to pass the test. Well, now I'm able to be able to pass the test because, I've gotten so much of my mental acuity back. Because I had brain damage before. And, couldn't remember things and couldn't process things the way that, I was always used to processing them. So, I had to relearn how to memorize and take exams and things that never, ever bothered me in the past. And part of me being able to get my license back has been that I needed to pay off a lot of debt that I just wasn't able to pay for when I was in the middle of going through the medical stuff. I had to make choices. Either I pay the medical stuff or I paid my credit card bills, and it made more sense for me to pay my medical stuff because I knew I could go back to it, and I took this job doing something I really, really believe in, and even this diagnosis has changed things. I don't get to go, be an outside sales rep in LA for this company that I really, really admire. Now I'm, a telemarketer, which is awesome that they gave me a job, that I'm still able to be there and do my job. But at the same time, it's heartbreaking because I love people, and being on a phone, 8 hours a day is hard for me. And just making sales calls is tough for me because I'm so used to teaching people things and strategizing with people and, sharing information and getting to know people and networking people, and so there's that, and I got this bill today that was for the first round of medicine. I don't even know which medicine it is, but it was $1,300. That's more than I'm making in 2 weeks right now doing my sales job. And all I could think was, well, shoot, after all this hard work I've been doing to pay off my bills so I can go back to my career, now I may end up, healed and having to file bankruptcy and finding a new career instead of going back to the one that I love. And, I know that in the long run, that'll be okay, but right this minute, dude, I'm really sad. And, it hurts my feelings, I worked hard. And the only person that's really understood so far is the doctor, because he was like, I get it, He's like, everybody needs something that they can contribute and give back to. And my work has always been how I contribute and give back, and making a living for myself. Being self-sustaining is important to me, and I want to be self-sustaining, and my career has always made it possible. And, now I may need to find a new career and give up the old dream. And, I know some of my well-meaning friends have been like, well, bankruptcy's not the worst thing that can happen, and I get that. But it's the worst thing that can happen right now to me in my skin. Because I still had that dream. And, I'll figure out a different way to do it. But, for right this minute, asking questions like, why did it make such a big deal to you? and like not telling me stuff like, well, nobody ever died and wanted to go back to work. And it was like, but I wanted to go back to work. It meant something to me because I was significant there. And I could grow and contribute and love on people and, like do all those things. I felt connection and security and uncertainty, and all the human needs I ever had were met in that career. And I've not had anything that met me at those levels since I retired. And, so it was a big deal to me. Being able to get those things back was a big deal to me. And, like if you're going to try to coach people, you got to know what matters to them and why it matters to them. I heard someone say one time that the dumbest question you could ever ask somebody is why. And frankly, I think that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Because, like the most important thing that you can know about a person is why. What is it that makes something so important to you, that you're upset about it? Instead of like automatically going to, well, make them feel better, like sometimes if we understand what's going on with the person, then we can make things feel better, because we can help them to find their own solutions. And so like if there's nothing else that you take out of this, please take that away. It's that, because I'm guilty of it myself, and this is clearly something I needed to learn, and I wouldn't have learned it any other way, is that when someone's really upset about something and you want to be there, but you don't know how to be there, telling them everything is going to be okay isn't the right thing. Because it will be okay eventually, but right this minute is not okay. And like for me, my career was my kid. Like the fact that I was self-sustaining was important to me. I grew up in poverty. Like I lived in a trailer park and we ate government cheese and ate the free lunch at school. I wasn't doing those things. I was paying my own bills and contributing and paying for other people to do stuff and like making a difference financially, not just in my own life, but in other people's lives. And that was important to me. So like understanding why a person ticks is important in making them feel important, instead of, like, well, bankruptcy's not the worst thing in the world. No, bankruptcy's not the worst thing in the world, but when I'm mourning something like this, I would never say something like that, about somebody losing their parent or losing their kid, and that's the way it feels like for me. So, when you are faced with somebody who is upset about something, don't try to make it better for them. Just try to understand. And if you can't understand, ask them questions and they will help you to understand. But don't assume that because it's not about the money. It was about what the money meant. It wasn't about my career. It was about what my career means. And I know all those things are going to be taken care of. And right this minute, it matters. And it matters because I have to mourn it in order for me to be able to go on to the next step. Because that's what Armageddon is. And this is just one more version of Armageddon. And this is how caterpillars turn into butterflies. This is what a cocoon looks like and feels like. And it's not pretty. And you still have the ability to be someone really meaningful, even when you don't have the words and don't know what to say. So thank you for everybody who's been there, and especially thank you to the doctor who really understood what it meant for me. Building a business for me is like painting to a painter or words to a poet. It's an art and a science, and it's how I express myself creatively, and it's how I show my love. So here's what I know, is that it's all good and it's all God or ain't over, and I'm going to get over this just like I get over everything else, and we'll keep it rolling. But today I learned a really valuable lesson, is to be more interested in other people than I am interested in fixing it right this moment and making it go away. So Have a great night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.